guys, so today it is Book Review Friday, and as you can see from the title and what's surrounding me, I am talking about The Black Jewels by Anne Bishop. I am going to talk about all 9 volumes kind of as one, because I've read all 9 of them many times. This is falling apart. I'm reading Tangled Webs, so it's somewhere. I don't know where. That's falling apart. I need to replace them. I've already replaced some, so I can't really separate them in my mind and go individually. If I do, it would be like Fullmetal Alchemist, where I kind of break them down and give you scene by scene by scene almost, and then my reaction to it. I'm just gonna talk about it. Damon and Lucifer are 2 pleasure slaves, or sex slaves, and Satan is the High Lord of Hell, and all 3 of these men are going to come together to protect Witch, Queen of the Darkness, who has been prophesied to come and remove the taint from the blood, the rulers of the realms, who have been abusing their power instead of using it to protect the people of the realms and the land itself. But when she arrives, Janelle Angeline is a 7-year-old little girl, and already dark forces are gathering to kill her, and so they have to protect her until she is old enough and strong enough to rise as Queen of the Darkness. First, let's talk about the reading order. Daughter of the Blood, Heir to the Shadows, The Invisible Ring, the first 3 stories in Dreams Made Flesh, Weaver of Dreams, The Prince of Ebonri, and Zul'Aman, Queen of the Darkness, I don't have in here, Tangled Webs, The Shadow Queen, Shalador's Lady, and Twilight's Dawn. Ratings in order: 4 out of 5 stars, 5 out of 5 stars, 4.5 out of 5 stars, 5 out of 5 stars, 5 out of 5 stars. Tangled Webs was 3 out of 5 stars, 5 out of 5 stars, 4.5 out of 5 stars, and 5 out of 5 stars. All in all, I give the series as a whole 5 out of 5 stars, but there's some flaws with the books individually. One of the reasons why I decided to go ahead and just read the prologue for Daughter of the Blood originally back in October was, one, I had trouble trying to separate them very well and describe things. I was still kind of new to BookTube. I mean, I've only been doing this about a year now. I'm not the best at this. A big reason is because I love the prose. Granted, it is a epic, high, dark fantasy. It deals with dark things, so it has its own terminology, it's got its own type of glossary going, but I was able to pick it up by the end of the prologue. She gives you just enough for you to understand what it means, and she's very good at it in each book, as you go, re-explaining different terms and getting you back into the world and back into how it is. Now that all 9 of them have been released and there's no more coming out, it's very easy to just marathon it. That's what I'm doing right now. I've already read 2 of the books, and I'm in the middle of Tangled Webs, which is why it's not in here. This is an adult book, so I have to skip a lot. There are sex scenes, there's molestation, there's rape, there's torture, there is mutilation. Another reason that I like it is because it's talking about real-life problems with a very thin fantasy filter. I'm not quite sure you understand what I mean by that. I'm sorry if I'm babbling. I'm doing this without writing anything down, because I tend to find that my reviews are more raw that way. It's not quite so scripted. Also, I didn't write it as I went and make tabs or anything. I mean, I've read them a million times. I have certain passages memorized. What I'm trying to say is this deals with some heavy-hitting stuff that is a problem in a ton of cultures worldwide. A big thing that it does that really makes me think every time that I read it is gender roles. The gender roles are flipped. Women rule. Women are the dominant gender, and men are beneath. Yes, women are usually whores, but if someone's going to be a sex slave and kidnapped and forced to have sex with someone, even as a child, it's not commonly women. It is always men. Slut is not a term used against women as much as it is against men. And even in The Prince of Ebonri in Dreams Made Flesh, Lucifer has a young man come up, and he got into a relationship with a bad woman. He had sex with her. And then, after that, she broke up with him, and he was labeled a slut. And women that he didn't even know would come up to him. Teenage girls and grown women would come up to him and expect him to have sex with them because he'd already put out. Men are the ones who are not allowed to sleep around, while it's quite often okay for a woman to do that to her husband. Men are celibate, I hope I'm saying that word right, I'm sorry, until marriage, and women are the ones who aren't even expected to be a virgin. In fact, that's a bad thing if a woman is a virgin before marriage, whereas men, no. If a ruler of a different court comes to a court, it is expected for men to sleep with her and service, that's the actual term, service her rather than women. And it goes beyond just sexual things. Women rule. They are the power. For a man to rule, yes, it happens. There are warlord princes like Lucifer and Damon eventually who rule their own territories, but it is such an oddball thing. Women are taken aback when they find out that they rule. They're like, you rule? And when Satan ruled, he was the only male ruling like that. Only male. Only one. Women were like completely shocked and put off by the fact that he had power, and it freaked them out. Women are the ones who naturally can go for darker jewels. In the cast, you'll learn there's Blandeds and Blood. Blood have power gifted to them. You learn later why. I'm not going to say why, but they have power in their bodies, and they can't just house the power in their bodies. If they do, it destroys them. So they have jewels, and the bigger the jewel, the more uncut the jewel, and the darker the jewel, the more power there is. Until Satan, no male ever held a black jewel, the darkest jewel there is. No man, ever. In the history of the blood. Until Damon, no man had it since. I love that it makes you think about gender roles and how it plays into things. In times where the men pretend to be afraid of the women, even though they may have darker jewels than her, because in the end, she is the dominant one, and they feel that they must be submissive. It's just ingrained in them. They say that all the time. So that really always makes me think, and rereading it, it's making me think about it a lot, and about gender roles and how it plays into the smallest of nuances. Another thing that I love is that as heavy and as dark as I'm making these seem, they're not that dark, actually. The ones with the lower ratings are the darker ones. This is darker. This is pretty dark. Tangled Webs is the darkest, although it's kind of vies with this one for dark. This one, I didn't expect it to be as dark because of the ending of this one. This is like a duology inside the series. It's a little bit darker, but despite that, there are hilarious things. In Queen of the Darkness, you know, this is a heavy thing. They're trying to defeat these evil queens, Dorothea and Hecate, who are trying to kill Janelle and trying to control Janelle. And they have ruined Lucifer, Damon's, and Satan's lives. Even though they're dealing with all these heavy, dark things, and there's war coming and blah, 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 all these terrible things are going on. There's death and torture again. We still have times where Surreal, who's a female character, is running around in her pajamas, furious because she's tired of the wolf farting in her bed. She's got a wolf who is sleeping with her, and he is farting in her bed, and it's driving her nuts. She finally wanted someone to help her because she didn't know how to tell a wolf who can talk that it's farting and it's driving her nuts and stuff. And so it's got things like that. It's got hilarious scenes. Even though Tangled Webs is the darkest of the series, in my opinion, is the worst out of all of them, I'm still rereading it right now because it's got so many funny scenes. There are times where, like, Damon's like, I'm a warlord prince and a warlord of this territory, and I have all this great power, and I am going on a walk with 5 Sheltie puppies who are very, very excited, and I'm going to be leaving a queen's house, carting them in a wagon that I had to bring with me because they wanted to go for a walk to the queen's house and back, and they can't make the walk, and they're going to sleep, and it's like, I am a warlord, right? I have all this power, right? And stuff like that. It's just, there's so many funny scenes. I talk about a lot how in Heir to the Shadows, I would break down crying because of how terrible some of the things that happen to them are. I cried a lot rereading Queen of the Darkness. And then in Heir to the Shadows, I literally turned the page and cut to a different scene between Janelle and Satan, and I was crying. I was laughing so hard. This has a great balance. Yes, you feel the pain. Yes, you feel the emotional turmoil the character's going through, but you also have some of the funniest scenes ever. I love this series, and I love that so many books don't do that. One of my best examples is, I don't know if I'd read even The Invisible Ring yet. but I read Lady Night by Tamara Pierce. Lady Night is very dark and it's very sad and it's got this depressing tone to it, but there wasn't any levity in it. The latest book from Tamara Pierce is Battle Magic, and Battle Magic has some really heavy things, but it also has a lot of levity. Until I'd read Black Jewels, I'd never read a book that did both, that made you cry, and yet at the same time, it was so funny and so well done. And more books after I've read this that I've found have been able to find that balance. Manga, one of the reasons I have a gazillion manga is because manga is infamous for it. You have scenes where terrible things are happening, and then a few pages later, you crack up. A page later, you're back to the seriousness and the darkness of it. This has a great balance in it. These are adult books though, so again, there's all those dark things, so I don't know if you guys want to read that necessarily. If you want to skip over it, I am perfectly fine on skipping that. That's why I have things on my shelves that I know, like my cousins would never pick up or touch, is because I can just skip over that and I'm fine with it. I can censor myself. It's not that big of a deal to me. I love this series. I love it. I definitely recommend it. It's mentioned in a gazillion videos because it is so well done. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to see more. Every Friday is a book review. Good luck with your reading, and I hope you decide to give these books a try, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Because I have read... Stop hitting my mouth. But what black... No! Go away! Go away! There's a cat trying to beg, and they're just gonna make noise and drive me nuts. Anywho. I didn't wake him up, but my cats drive me nuts. Cats always beg me because I give in easily. Donna... I'm doing this very well. Let's try that again. No, not you next. Now, one of the reasons bleh, get off my mouth. There's jabbing me in the back. Fine, but my shirt's a little low here.